process.
Because one of the victims described her attacker,
Yes.
that you were being that person, and if you will, give the description of what she said and why it could not have been you.
Well, one of the victims testified, well, gave during testimony that her assailant was another guy by the name of Gary Hatchett. She actually
She said his name.
Yes, and she actually had on police reports, Gary Hatchett is the guy because of this and because of that and because of this. And during the lineups, I went through 3 lineups that I didn't really know anything about until years later. I went through 3 lineups, and one of the victims actually said that I wasn't the guy 3 times, and because my lips were too big, my nose was a certain way, and I was, I guess, too dark. They were looking for a medium to light skin complexion assailant, African American assailant, and you know, I'm basically the lightest I've been in, I don't know, in my time on the streets before I got arrested right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I guess, this is the one that you're going to be retried on.
Yes.
And so we will be listening out for that.
Yes, ma'am.
With that behind you, you know, 27 years,
Yeah.
what is life like now for you?
Oh, life is beautiful right now. I'm not getting caught up with the possibility or probability. I say possibility that I may return to prison, because I know that my God is a good God, and I've came this far by the grace of God. But like I said, we are preparing to fight this, you know, and go all the way. However, life is great. I'm able to be home with my mother. I'm in a position where I'm around my family members. I've seen my brothers and sisters. I've actually been back to Tampa, Florida, where I was raised. And I want to say I was raised in Tampa, Florida. I was born in Terrell County. I left at the age of 2, and I was raised in Tampa, Florida. I've had the opportunity to go back to Tampa, Florida, and see many friends, many people reaching out to me, and it's just been a wonderful experience, a very humbling experience, and I'm just thankful.
You say you're not bitter, you are a better person, but there is, and you explain this, because I'm definitely not a legal
Yes, ma'am.
minded person in terms of terminology, but you said for 23 years you were not allowed petitions?
Well, for a process, in a prison, not prison, but in a judicial situation, if a person is convicted in the United States of America, they have an opportunity to file an appeal of their conviction, or a direct petition appealing their conviction. And everyone in the United States has had that opportunity except me, to my research. You know, for the past 23 years before I went into federal court, before I got accepted into federal court, actually 2012, from 1990 to 2012 when I got accepted into federal court. I got to say 2013. I filed in 2012 in federal court, but in 2013, Judge Joseph R. Goodwin accepted and brought me in because of the 23-year inordinate delay of me being able to be processed through the courts. I had no opportunity to be heard by the lower court judges after filing numerous petitions and numerous mandamuses and all types of post-conviction asking for remedies, you know, motions for default, this judgment, this and that. I filed so much, and I filed to the West Virginia Supreme Court. And when I filed to the West Virginia Supreme Court, I had 3 orders from the West Virginia Supreme Court telling the lower court to give me a full evidentiary hearing on my case, dating back to 1995, one in 2002 and another one in 2006. And throughout the years, I've never had the opportunity. The judge just basically refused to do that and hear my case at all. And I filed 6 habeas corpuses. To people who know what habeas corpus is, it's an opportunity for me to file against my conviction saying I'm wrongfully convicted. And like I say, every similarly situated prisoner in the United States of America has an opportunity to file and be ruled upon and be heard.
And so that, I guess it makes you kind of swallow hard. It hasn't made you bitter, but it makes you like 23 years? 23.
But I say this, my case wasn't the longest in West Virginia. But you have individuals that didn't have certain education and then certain laws that were presented, namely the AEDPA, Anti-Effective Death Penalty Act, that was enacted in 1995, I believe, or 1996 by Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton. it prohibited prisoners from filing beyond a 1-year statute limitation if they didn't get their appeals in and get heard within that 1 year. And it's a law that stops an individual from going to federal court. So if you don't get it in state court, which I was a state court prisoner, if you don't get your petitions in and get those reviewed within a year's time, and your year's time runs out, you can't go any further. You're just stuck. You're stuck. And
Well,
so many guys were stuck that I was around. You know, guys that haven't, like myself, haven't been heard for 20 plus 30 years.
let me say this,
Yes.
and as I said, you know, early on in this particular segment, you know, I don't know all the terminology. I hear
Yes.
it, but I don't necessarily understand it.
Yes.
But I will say this: you have studied.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
You did a lot of studying while in
yes,
prison.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And like you said, you were like the co-counsel on your case,
Yes, ma'am.
on your case.
Yes,
We need to take a break, but when I come back, there's a very funny story about your mama.
Okay.
And I can call her mama because that's what you call her,
Yes,
mama.
ma'am. Mama,
And again, you will be 50 years old in
July 1st.
July 1st. And go ahead.
Funny little story. Me, my sister Barbara Gardner Harrison, and I have another brother. We were all born on July 1st, 1964, 1965, 1966.
Some planning there,
Yes,
it seems.
yes,
All right, well, we'll talk
yes.
about mama and your family and
Yes.
God when we come back. I'll have more of my dialogue with Jimmie Gardner. Stay with us. Welcome back on the Sunday. I am still, I continue my dialogue, I should say, with Jimmie Gardner, who says he is not bitter. He's a better person. And we want to complete today's dialogue by talking about family and God and your mama and what's going on now and what's to come. Let's talk about your mama real quick. Before I do that, you're here because of Daryl Sabbs.
Yes, ma'am.
Giving me a call and saying you need to talk to this man. He's got a story, and I'm so glad Daryl is here cheerleading you today. So thank you so much, Daryl Sabbs.
Thank you.
He also encouraged you to share the story about your mom.
Yes.
Now, the reason I pointed out that you will be 50 years old in July is the
Yes.
fact that you've got a curfew.
Yes.
Talk about your relationship with your mom.
Well, I haven't been around my mother in 27 years. She comes to visit. Now, don't get it wrong. They've came to visit throughout the years, religiously. But my mom, I have a 11 o'clock curfew with mama.
Okay.
And it's just out of love and concern. And mama went to the level of taking the door down in my room. She wants to see, what's going on.
And she laid out some rules
And
about
all the
dating and
rules.
all those
Yes,
types of
yes,
things.
yes.
See,
No.
she's also, I think, catching up.
Yes.
What she missed out
Yes,
on. So
yes.
now she just wants to make sure that you're safe and sound. Like
Exactly.
mamas do. Nothing wrong with that, right? All right,
Yes.
and talk about family and God.
Oh, God is the nucleus in my life, and without God, you know, I wouldn't be in the situation I am today. I wouldn't be where I am talking to you, and I just give all praise to God, and I'm just humble. Now, my family has been so supportive. My family has been there. Tracy Gardner Sims, Barbara Gardner Harrison, Eric Gardner, my other brothers, Tavares, Leroy. You know, I've had my uncles and aunts, my Uncle Artie, my cousin Punkin, and you know, it's been so many people and friends. Sheila Lewis, a friend of mine, she's been there. Lawana, Logan, John Komet Shabbat. It's been so many people. Morris Morrison, Mr. Lockett.
Yeah,
and
well, let's
Smoke.
talk about this. This was the recent
Yes.
community barbecue that Ricardo
Yes.
Lockett held, and also what Smoke from Field Mob.
Yes.
And so did you know him already, or did you go and tell him your story?
Well, I knew of the individuals, and I just had such a great time with those young men at the park, and being able to just see how everyone came together and just celebrated and just peacefully had a great time, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I look forward to being with these guys in the future.
What is next for you? Of course, education, and then you've got some
yes.
projects that you're going to be working on.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to attain 3 degrees while I was incarcerated in restaurant management, business management, and a general studies degree. And I'm thankful, all in West Virginia. And what I have coming up right now is I'm working with Mr. Darryl Sabbs, and we have the function going on from I believe 15th, 16th, and 18th. And we're going to be mentoring. We're going to be talking to a group of young men during the Father's Day weekend, and we're going to be doing some wonderful things with them, helping them just get motivated and giving them some inspiration, and just having a luncheon, doing some powerful, wonderful things, talking to the youth and giving back.
And our time is about to be up. But one of the things that struck me early on, and I just wish every young person out there this morning, and when I say young, of all ages, if you don't get out and vote, this man had not done it. And that was one of the first things he was able to do for the first time in his life.
Yes.
And so just quickly, just encourage people to vote. It doesn't, I'm not trying to tell people how to
please.
vote. I can't do that. But
Yes.
you know, it's so important.
Yes, it is so important to get out and vote. Please go vote. Get out and show that you
Care about
support
the future.
the future of our lives and the lives of our young ones coming after us.
Okay.
Let's vote.
And with that, I have to say thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing
Yes, ma'am.
your
Thank
story with us, and keep us updated.
I will.
And have a wonderful Sunday, everybody.
Thank you.